Hello everybody, it is Shard, GVRP here, back again with a new video on this channel. So today guys, I am actually going to be going through 6 of the most overrated cars in Greenville. Now I do just want to put a disclaimer out there, all of the cars stated in this video are completely my opinion because some of you guys may not think these cars are very overrated. So that is why I am saying this is all my opinion and these are the cars that I think are overrated. So yeah, but if you do have different opinions or even just have other cars that you think are underrated, please make sure to leave them in the comments below because I would love to hear them. Also, if you do end up enjoying this video, please make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It would mean so much to me. But yeah, let's get into it. Alright guys, so the first car that I'm actually going to be moving on to here is the Tesla Roadster. Now, when I'm talking about the Tesla Roadster, I'm talking about the 2022 Tesla Roadster 2.0. So, I'm sure a lot of you guys understand why I've put this on the list, as pretty much any rich person in Greenville owns this thing. I mean, currently, I actually don't own mine. I actually ended up selling it. But yeah, it's honestly a pretty overrated car. It's definitely not a bad car, but it's pretty useless in my opinion, spending that much money on a car that you can't even use in majority of roleplay servers if you don't have banned vehicle exempt. And overall, it's just not that worth it. The only reason to have it is if you like speed and also if you like flexing. Now the second car I'm going to move on to is the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ. Now in my opinion, this thing is probably more overrated than the Tesla Roadster as well, due to the fact that this thing, one, doesn't cost very much. You could probably afford this thing after like a week or so of just full-on grinding, maybe even less time than that. So it's not very hard to get, to be honest, and overall, it's very overrated. And I will admit, the car does look cool, and it does catch your eye on the road. But the thing is that it doesn't even really feel cool to drive it anymore, because pretty much everyone in public servers and stuff like that are driving around in this thing. And I mean, not everyone drives around in it, but when it first came out, a lot of people were. And even today, I still see quite a bit of people who drive around in this thing as their daily driver. And it's definitely not a bad car. It performs really well in speed tests and stuff like that, and it also looks and sounds really cool. Except it's just very overrated at this point, and it doesn't have a very good reputation throughout Greenville. And it's honestly not very good, in my opinion, anymore, just due to it being so overrated. Because honestly, I would still have the car today, and I would still probably be driving it today if it wasn't so overused, but unfortunately it is, and yeah. Now the next car is kind of a bit of it's probably like the least underrated, I'd say, or the least overrated out of all of these cars, or at least one of the least. So this is actually the Corvette C8. So a lot of you guys probably know the Corvette C8 is a very cheap sports car, but it looks very like futuristic, I guess, and it almost looks like it's like a supercar or something like that, even though I'm pretty sure it's literally just classified as a sports car, or it's a more like top of the line sports car. But yeah, and I will say I do honestly quite like the car. It does look really cool, it does look really unique and stuff like that, except because of its like cheap price, a lot of people drive around in it, and it overall just doesn't feel that cool to drive around in anymore, due to the fact that when you do, people don't really, go up to you and start freaking out, I guess, like people do with some other cars in the game, just due to the fact that it gets seen so much and it's just so overrated now that it's not really even that like fun to drive around in anymore, and overall just not that cool to own. It's definitely a good sports car, I'd say, to go to though, for like your first sort of sports car, I guess, or not your first sports car, but like if you're trying to get into that more higher range of sports cars, it's definitely a good one to go to. Except I honestly don't think it's that worth it at the same time, just due to the fact that so many people have it, and it overall just doesn't feel and look as cool as it used to be. Now the fourth car that I'm going to move on to here is a huge one. So this is the Lamborghini Huracan. Now this car isn't as overrated anymore, due to the fact that there are so many other cars in the game now, but when the revamp first launched, the Huracan was so overrated, it was unbelievable. Like when the revamp first launched, I cannot tell you guys how many times I just saw Huracans zooming on the highway. It was just there was so much of them, and I overall just, after that, I low-key just kind of stopped liking Huracans, or at least in Greenville, due to the fact that I always saw them and they just didn't seem unique to me anymore, and overall, I just didn't see them as cool cars anymore, because when it first came out, I was honestly like, hey, this is pretty cool, they added a Huracan. But when I saw how much people were actually driving them, I low-key just kind of lost all my love for the car, and I overall just didn't even land up buying it at the end because of how many people were driving it, and I would have guaranteed that I would have gotten bored of the car like straight away, just due to the fact that it's not really attractive to people anymore, I guess, and also it's overall just really overrated and not that fun to drive around in, so yeah. Now the fifth car is actually quite a recent car that came out into the game, and this is the Honda Civic Type R. Now I will admit that this car's popularity has died down quite a bit since the initial release of it, except it is still quite up there in the overrated car area in my opinion. Like, I see these things quite a lot throughout roleplay servers and also public servers, so they're definitely not, like, people still definitely drive around in them. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with it because it's a very cool car, I will admit, but I kind of just don't, even though I still own the car, I honestly just don't drive around in it anymore, just due to the fact that I don't feel special when I'm driving around in it anymore. Like, when the car first came out, I was so excited to drive it around and stuff like that, but then I saw how much people were actually using it, and honestly, it was a lot more people than I thought who were using it. And I overall just, like, I didn't feel cool driving the car anymore, and I overall just felt like it was sort of a waste of money. Because when it comes to the Civic Type R, like, the car doesn't really sound that great, if I'm going to be honest. The performance of the car isn't anything really that special. So the only thing that, in my opinion, really made the car special and fun to drive around in was how the car actually looked and how people reacted, or at least I thought they would react to the car. And I was really hoping that it would be one of those cars where people would see it and be like, wow, that's a cool car. And some people may still react like that today, except I honestly just, you know, because of how many people were driving around in it and still do drive around in it, I feel like it's kind of lost that wow factor to it. And overall, it's just not that fun to drive around in, I guess, anymore. I mean, it's still a cool car for sure, and that's why I still have it, because one, it's not that pricey, and two, it's just a cool car to look at. Except, you know, when you're in roleplay servers or public servers, people don't freak out as much as they would have if it wasn't so overused. And the sixth and last car I am moving on to here is the Chevrolet Silverado. Now, I will admit that this car isn't that, like, popular, I guess you could say, in roleplay servers and stuff like that. But when it comes to public servers, these things are honestly pretty popular due to the fact that this is most people's starter car. So basically, when people start the game, this is like one of the cars that a lot of people usually get, and a lot of people first play the game in public servers, not in roleplay servers, obviously. So that's why I see them a lot more in public servers than I do in roleplay servers. I mean, I still see them in roleplay servers, but nowhere near as much as public servers. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that in my opinion, because it is a starter car, and overall, it's actually a pretty cool starter car. And even to this day, even though it is quite overrated and stuff, I still like the car quite a lot. And this is honestly one of the overrated cars that I actually still enjoy, and I honestly still think is pretty cool. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about it, to be honest. But yeah, anyways guys, that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for today's video. Again, if you did enjoy the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It would mean so much to me. But yeah guys, thank you so much. Also, remember, I do actually have a TikTok account, so yeah, it's just called ShardGV, and you should just be able to find it by searching that up. I also do have a Twitter account, which is, I'm pretty sure it's ShardGVRP, at ShardGVRP, I'm pretty sure, and same as my Instagram. So yeah, make sure to go check those out if you guys haven't already. It would mean a lot to me. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching, see you later, and goodbye.